Hello, my loyal listeners. Thanks so much for supporting the podcast. This experiment is turning into a much bigger success than I could have imagined. That's thanks to you. So please keep on subscribing and sharing. My goal is 1,000 downloads by Remembrance Day. Since this podcast is actually getting downloaded, guess what? Businesses actually want to pay me to advertise for them. Who would have thought? So I'm proud to be sponsored by Boris, who happens to be a great buddy of mine and an up-and-coming jiu-jitsu champ, and his company, Be Air. If you live in or around the West Island of Montreal and your house felt like a Russian sauna last year, give him a call. Boris will hook you up with the best AC unit, all professionally installed and done with the highest level of customer care on the market today. That's no bullshit either. He's installed at my house. Check him out on Facebook at Be Air. That's capital B, period, Air, A-I-R. Or go to his website at www.montrealfurnacefilters.com. He's also a proud Army veteran and brings that work ethic and pride to work every day and refuses to let any of his clients down. Are you guys aware that I wrote a book? Yeah, that's right. I wrote a book. It's called The Nimble Warrior. It's a guide to moving better, improving performance, and reducing injury. So why did I write this book? Well, after I got back from Afghanistan, I was a bit banged up. I kind of screwed up my back. And slowly but surely, I started just degenerating to the point where I couldn't really move properly and I couldn't enjoy the things that I really enjoyed in life, like training and playing sports and playing with my son. So you know what? I said, I got to make a change, and I did. So I worked with a coach, and I found out all kinds of new cool shit that I put in the book that helped me get from being kind of immobile and stuck in bed to being able to do all the things I love again. So check out the book. The link is in the show notes, thenimble.warriorbook.com. Head to the website, and you know what? I'm giving my book away for free. All you need to do is cover shipping and handling. I've got limited quantity, so get on it. Hop on it. Get it. And even better than that, you get a book, I give $1 to the Wounded Warriors Canada Fund. How's that sound? All right, guys, let's get to the episode. Oh, man, this was a hell of a good episode, man. I had so much fun. Me and Jonny, I think, really hit it off. Not to mention, he worked with the Grenadiers, 2 Grenadier, I believe, during his time in Afghanistan. And you know what? We talked about a lot of really good stuff, all related to men's health, on what it is to be a man these days, how to keep your testosterone up, and just basically how to live as a dangerous man. But what does that actually mean? Man, this is such a good episode. So look, guys, I really hope you appreciate what's going on in the episode, and I think you're really going to enjoy it. Stay tuned. Jonny Collins is the man. Here we go.
Welcome to the Hard to Kill podcast, the go-to podcast for military, LEO, and EMS professionals, sharing ideas and experiences from around the world to make you hard to kill. Here's your host, Dave Morrow.
All right, welcome everybody. How's everybody doing today? Today we have Jonny Collins. He's from Frome, Somerset, and a fellow Afghan war vet. After leaving the British Army, he started a successful consulting company helping men all over the world reach their optimal state. Jonny helps ambitious men build strong, masculine physiques through very specific gym work, nutrition, and habits. He also values mindset training and helps men enhance their natural focus, discipline, and drive, resulting in success across all areas of life. Jonny, how's it going, buddy?
Yeah, it's good. How you doing?
I'm doing freaking awesome. It's actually not too bad of a day here. So it's actually sunny. It's been shit all month, and usually it's not like that. So I know you guys in the UK don't get nearly as much sun as we do, but it's been pretty brutal here. It's only like 12, 13 degrees, which is really uncharacteristic. So yeah, we're hoping that it warms up in the near future so we can get outside and get to the pool.
Sounds good. I'm off to San Diego in a couple of months, and I am mega excited to see some sun and some beach.
Oh man, have you ever been to California before?
No, I've only ever been to New York. That's the only place in the US I've been. But I've got a wedding in San Diego in August that I'm best manning for, so gonna enjoy some nice beach time, I think.
Oh hell yeah, man! California, like if I could live out there, if I could afford to live out there, Man, San Francisco. Oh my God. I mean, my wife went there a few years ago and that was just freaking unbelievable. So yeah, good luck with that. Yeah. I make sure to get some sunscreen on though. Cause, yeah, I'm sure you have the same pasty skin that I do, from my ancestors. All right, dude. So, hey, man, we got put in touch by a mutual friend, Rich Wellington. So, shout out to Rich Wellington for putting us in contact with each other. And we were just chatting about kind of our experiences and what we're doing. And we're kind of in the same online space. And like I train military veterans and the police and stuff like that, but mostly men. And but I do train women as well. But you specifically work with men and building their testosterone and building them into the dangerous dudes that they're meant to be. It's freaking awesome. I love reading your blog posts and stuff like that. So can we just start with what your business is all about and kind of how you got there?
Sure. Yeah. So as soon as I left the army, I got straight into fitness. So I love fitness, always have. My dad's a rugby player. My mum's a marathon runner. Like, I was sporty. Always loved it. But I was always like naturally real scrawny. Like, got my mum's physique, right? Just a runner. When I started kind of understanding how the body works and packing on muscle, like, I got a real passion for it. So when I left the army, straight into personal training. It's all I wanted to do. I just figured I'd be doing. In my head, I was like, I'll just be training all day, chilling out in the gym. That's what I thought.
Yeah. I had that same fantasy at some point too. Like, I'll just get a gym job and I'll just be ripped because that's all I'll be doing. Yeah, it doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way at all.
What you realize is when you do that, you realize real quick, your passion is for one small bit of the fitness industry, right? So 90% of your clients, you don't care about their goals at all. Like I was saying to you before, like overweight women, I wanted to help them, but I didn't enjoy the journey because I've never been an overweight woman. I don't find that interesting. It's not exciting to me. Like, all I want to help is, well, I realized quickly that my favorite clients were like guys that wanted to join the military. They wanted that tough, brutal training. Guys that wanted to pack on size and muscle, enhance their testosterone, like just become better men. And it tied over and became more about like optimizing yourself in every area. Like, I used to get so excited when a guy would come up to me and be like, I'm real low in confidence. I'm just anxious. I don't have much luck with women. And I just think it's down to me not feeling comfortable in my physique. And I'd be so fucking pumped. I'd just be like, dude, we're gonna make some ridiculous changes. And I teach him how to train and how to eat to broaden his physique, enhance his testosterone levels, all this stuff that would build muscle and give him that warrior's physique. But then mindset training. So I'd see him growing and being more confident. And then one day we'd be on a coaching call and he'd be like, yeah, I've got a date tonight. And he'd be like, oh yeah, now I've got a girlfriend. And then he'd be like, hey, I've quit my job. I'm going to go for something a bit better. And all these things would snowball. And I was just like, fuck all this other stuff. Like, I'm just going to help men optimize themselves. And that's it. And since I've done it, it's awesome. Like, it's all I want to do now. I love it.
That's wicked. Did anybody ever live stream their date? That'd be a whole other level of coaching, I think.
Yeah. I'd be there in their ear, just like, nice.
Shit, there was an episode on Netflix on that wacky show there. I can't remember the name of it. It was literally that. It was John Hamm. He was like, "There's this guy's life coach," and then like I think somebody got murdered, and he's like, "Oh shit, I don't get paid enough for this," and then it turned into all wild shit. Oh, that's wicked, dude. Yeah, so you deal primarily kind of with from what I understand, from improving testosterone levels. Can we touch base on that a little bit? Like, what's your methodology for guys to kind of build that testosterone level?
Yeah, sure. I mean, it wasn't supposed to be my primary focus, but then once you dive into helping guys like be better, you realize that is just one undeniable advantage that men have. If you're not taking advantage of it, you're an idiot, right? So you can be doing stuff that's killing your testosterone and still training perfectly, eating perfectly, even maybe get some semi-good results, but you haven't even got close to reaching your potential. As soon as you unlock that and start really supercharging your endocrine system and testosterone as well, but growth hormone too, like really getting these pattern, like lowering cortisol, making sure you're not like boosting estrogen by doing these crazy modern things that everyone seems to do, like be lazy and eat shit food. It's crazy the effect it has. Like that's probably the main thing when guys are just saying, my sex drive's gone up, my energy's gone up, my focus and drive's gone up. Like all this stuff is affecting me and making me work harder in the gym, making me stay on track with my eating more. So it kind of affects everything. And the main things I tell guys to do, like the simple base level stuff, is just ensure you're getting good sleep, right? 7 hours sleep, like at least 7 hours sleep. That's simple. It's like, that is literally when testosterone is produced, when you're asleep. It's a no-brainer. If you're not getting enough sleep, you do not have optimal testosterone levels. That's simple. Also, I speak to so many guys that are cutting fat out of their diets because they see it in these bodybuilder magazines. Like, people tell me they don't understand why they're not getting in shape because all they're eating is chicken and rice. And I'm saying, you're not eating any fat. Fat is what is fat literally becomes testosterone, essentially. Like, that is what it's created from, right? We need that good quality cholesterol. We need these saturated animal fats. It's what we need to produce testosterone. So that's a big one. And also just like the basic animalistic things, they do enhance testosterone: competing and winning, having sex, okay, getting enough sleep, not having processed foods. These are things that are good. They make you feel better anyway. They just so happen to be real beneficial for you internally. So it's a no-brainer. Once you get guys on the right track with it, they never fall off track, ever, because that testosterone drives them to keep winning. They become almost like competitive with themselves, that they don't want to fail. They love challenging themselves, and they love what they're seeing. So
yeah, it's a positive feedback loop. Every time you add a little bit of success in that loop, it creates more success, which creates more success and more success and more success. Yeah, it's cool that you mentioned the whole testosterone thing. I used to be a high school science teacher before I got into the business world, and I was also a coach, and I was at an all boys school as well. And naturally, the conversation, I taught health, so naturally the conversation would go to, "Sir, how do I get jacked?" I was like, that's a good question. And I would get every kind of different permutation of that question. So I started my own blog. So I would just kind of disseminate that to the guys. And, especially around 15, that's when it kind of clicks. It's like, wait, if I spend time in the gym, not only will I get better at sports, but I'll look better and chicks will want to hang out with me, So it's like the perfect combination to teach them about hormones, and is part of the course curriculum already. And so one of the things I did was just, take the basics of what testosterone, and how it's made, and kind of give them the baseline of how it works. And, looking at nutrition and sleep, I was like, guys, if you're not sleeping at your age, like, you have more testosterone than at any point in your lives. But, as we get older, it starts declining because, like you said, we're not doing what we're supposed to, and we're not doing those heavy lifts. We're not eating properly. We're not sleeping. And, you get like 15, 16-year-olds are getting like, 4 or 5 hours of sleep a night because they're on their phones all night. Yeah. And that's just training in shit habits. I'm like, well, if you want to get jacked, stop looking at your phone. Yeah. It's like, you're going to get jacked. Like, you can go in the gym and do like 15 push-ups a day, and you're going to get huge because you have so much testosterone and you're growing at such an exponential rate that any bit of stimulus is going to work, and you're just killing it by not sleeping. And so it's cool that you mentioned the whole sleep and nutrition thing, because I think that we don't learn that, right, when we're growing up. Yeah. So how do you get across, like, what's your best method to, it's obviously that's a learning module for somebody to kind of absorb and understand, because you have to understand it because there's a bunch of different moving parts. How do you get that across to your clients?
It's the only way of getting stuff across. Like, you can't just tell them what to do. It's never going to work. It'll fall on deaf ears. So the first thing you need to do is explain the science behind it. Yeah, because otherwise you're going to tell them what to do, and then they're going to go to the shop and buy one of these full of bullshit fitness magazines and see something that contradicts it in there and just believe that, because we believe the last thing we saw, right? If we don't understand the science behind it. So you teach them the science behind it. Like, I won't just say sleep. I'll say, when you're asleep, this is what happens to your body. This is why you need it. This is how you can spot if you're getting enough. Yes, we talk about like morning wood, stuff like that. Like, if you're but then also the only way of really cementing it in and getting it across is teach them to do everything so perfectly and force them to do it so perfectly. Like saying, okay, accountability, I need you to tell me you're doing this for the next 3 weeks, right? They're going to see results. And anyone that sees results from sacrifices they've made, they'll carry on with it, right? So if I'm saying, these are the actions you must do for 3 weeks, just trust me, do them. You will try and talk yourself out of it, but just make them non-negotiable. And I'll make them analyze themselves when they start, like body fat, weight, feelings, mood, like stress levels, all this stuff. Even we dig deep into like financial state and stuff. I want them to analyze every part of their life and then keep analyzing as they're making these sacrifices of eating well, being way more mindful of their sleep, training hard. And as they analyze, they see the rewards in the mirror, on their analysis sheets and stuff they've done. No guy's going to fall off track when he does that. If he's seeing himself improve and he's enjoying the process, which he will, because as you know, if you're doing something to enhance testosterone, then you are doing something that your body wants you to do. Therefore, it's going to reward you with all the feel-good hormones, right? It's going to give you dopamine. It's going to give you endorphins. You're going to feel awesome. So you're feeling good and looking good and looking on paper and you're doing better. What sort of idiot would be like, I might throw in the towel on this routine? Like, it doesn't happen.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest selling points is you're going to have more sex. It's going to be good sex too. You're like, oh, what? Okay, how much do I pay you? And take my money.
Tell me. It's all blokes want to do, especially like, I mean, when you're single, it's what you want to do. Be the stud, right? If you're a single guy and you're known for like being that stud, it's good. You feel good and that. But if you've got that special lady and this guy, and I speak to loads of them, guys that cannot satisfy their wives, right? These guys that they'll tell me that and I did an email about this the other day. They'll almost, some of them will cause arguments so that there's no intimacy, so they don't have to worry because they panic that they can't perform or that they're going to perform shit. So it's the worst way. Like when I'm speaking to guys on the phone that tell me this, like I want to help them so desperately because that's just one thing that snowballs, right? If you can't satisfy your wife and you feel like she doesn't see you as that much of a man, you're not going to perform as good at work. You're not going to sleep well. You're not going to make healthy food choices because you're mentally not driven and focused. It's always going to be in the back of your mind. And as soon as you're waking up in the morning, rock hard, as soon as you're going to bed and just having these insane lustfulness towards your lady and pleasing her and she's loving it and you're feeling awesome, you are the man. You go to bed, you sleep like a baby, you wake up feeling like the man and you're just going to dominate the rest of the day, right? So sex is big, it is important. But for some reason, like I tell guys to give me a mark out of 10 for their sex drive the very first time I speak to them, and the average number, regardless of age, is 4 and 5s. Like, it's
Really?
crazy.
Whoa.
And I was shocked as well, but it's across the board. Like if I'm speaking to like guys in their early 20s and they're just saying, oh, it's like 4 or 5, or even, to be honest, in the 20s, even a 7 or an 8, I'd be like, hey, like this, if you're not saying 10 until you're like 35, then tell me and do what I say.
Yeah. Damn. Like like from like high school all the way like well into the 20s, it was like 14. Is that like on the scale, like shit, like I definitely, once like you have kids, I don't know if you have kids, but that definitely puts a dent, right? Because now the biggest thing is the lack of sleep, right? And the like that sex pillar of like who we are kind of goes by the wayside, right? And it's too bad because I think a lot of times, and this is just from my just personal observation, it's kind of seen as like, oh, we're just out for sex, and that's all we're driven to do. But if we're talking about mental health, and like you're saying, like it drives how successful you're going to be because you've got this pillar, and if it's kind of not there, everything else is now on unstable ground. You lose confidence, and that's where I think a lot of guys kind of stumble. I've stumbled, like you don't have that confidence, and if you don't have that confidence, it's that then now you're in a downward spiral. You're in a, that everything that happens now makes it even worse for you. And then trying to get back into that positive feedback loop where you're, in a high testosterone state and you are having sex and you are training hard, it's harder and harder and harder to get there. So, like you talked about, like testosterone levels and stuff like that. I wanted to just touch base. Like, I know I did I did a test about a month ago, 2 months ago. And I'm like, I eat well, I sleep relatively well, I train hard. I'm probably going to have a relatively high testosterone score. And when I got back, I was actually kind of surprised. It was actually just above normal. And I was like, I was like, that's weird. And, my doctor was like, well, everything's fine. But for me, I was like, I was expecting like stellar results. So, what would you have as like a recommendation, like for a guy like me, let's say, who does actually train, and you probably have guys that are in that same boat too, that kind of look out for stuff. Are there any kind of adjustments that would make sense for somebody who's just kind of like average, middle of the road, to really kind of put yourself into the next level of like testosterone level?
Okay. The biggest thing is, and without a doubt, this is processed foods. Right. And this is the biggest problem, is the foods we eat. And people kind of think, right, that's unhealthy, so I'm going to stay away from that. But I mean, even in stuff like canned foods, the BPAs that's used on the metals, like the canned foods, the BPAs in the plastics, like it's just everywhere. Right. It's so difficult, unless like being above average, above normal ranges is good. To get them real sky high, you need to be like filtering every glass of water you have, right? Because of what they coat the pipes with. Like you need to be doing everything. There's been studies that have shown our testosterone levels are dropping by 1.4% a year, regardless of age, right? Regardless of age. So I'm definitely not going to do maths in front of anyone because I'm so bad at it. But that's like, if you think of, that's like your great granddad, what he was like at your age, like, and you just and minus the years and do it by 1.4%. It's crazy. It's a crazy amount, and that's regardless of age. It's just our lifestyle. It's the fact that every single thing in our lives is kind of like, it's almost like designed to crush us. Like the foods we eat are just full of xenoestrogens, right? The BPA everywhere. We're sedentary as fuck. We're obsessed with these fuckers, which is a big problem, because it's making us lazier. It's making that we're not socializing as much, and even stuff like that, like socializing and being around peers, even stuff like that that's good for your mindset, enhances testosterone because it's a healthier way to live. Right? We're masturbating like crazy. Everyone is, and that is real bad, like so bad.
Hold on a second. What now we're talking about the masturbation thing. What is it about it that is that you think, or that like have you seen any studies that show that actually decreases testosterone levels? Is there something there?
I haven't seen any. I haven't read any studies about masturbating. To be brutally honest, in my browsing history, like Amber, no, I swear, I was just researching. But what it does is, and I speak to guys all the time, and there's a real obvious correlation between guys that think they have a high sex drive because they're masturbating a lot, right? But when I say, like, how often do you want to have sex? They're like, oh, no, to be honest, I think it's laziness. Like, I just masturbate, but like twice a day. And I'll just be like, that's not a sex drive, right? The chemicals that you release, like when you're with a woman, that your body rewards you for that. Masturbating, right. You can't trick your body into thinking it's having sex, like, at all. And I think what masturbating does, and like overwatching porn does, is it kind of changes how you're stimulated, right? So you're stimulated by, instead of like touch, like you remember when you're a teenager, like, and a girl's like touching you, and you're just like,
dude. Oh man, I told my wife about that story. She's like, "Ew, that's disgusting." I'm like, "Baby, it's just biology. Like, what do you want me to say?" Like, they brush me, and I'd be like, "Oh my god, oh fuck."
Because I got to sit down now. Like that's how you should be. Whereas watching porn, like you're stimulated by watching. You're watching a screen and getting turned on. It's not touch, right? It's not. It's just not. It's not natural. You need to be stimulated by touch and physical sight, not pixels on a screen. It's not healthy. And a lot of guys do say, like, once they, without doing anything to enhance testosterone, stopping masturbating, within like 14 days to 3 months, like to 3 weeks, their sex drive is is higher than it's been in years. And it's not their sex drive, purely because they've changed the stimulus, right? They've changed their stimulus, and now they're actually turned on by it, rather than being like excited to get that incognito window up. Like they're excited because they're a lady. But that's what it should be, right?
Yeah, definitely. Hey, it's funny you mentioned I guess the abstaining, because my buddies, we have this thing, we call it paleo penis. So we joke a lot about like paleo diets and stuff like that, but we're pretty dialed in with kind of nutrition and health and stuff like that. But because there's a study that came out, I don't know how many years ago it was, but it just showed like the increasing testosterone levels. I think it's at day 7. If you haven't had sex or masturbated in 7 days, like testosterone levels are like at their peak. And so we kind of took that to the next level. It's like, okay, 14 days, 21 days. And it's just like, we go into like a Zen Buddhist monk. And it's like, we're just like writing on WhatsApp, like how many days like PP are. It's just like, it's like testosterone, like max level testosterone, like you go into pure Hulk mode. So, there's obviously some research to back that up, but apparently after 7 days, it kind of stabilizes. So for some reason, there's like that 7-day kind of maximum level of testosterone that's in there. So it lends a bit of, I guess, credence to, like the fighters that kind of abstain from sex and stuff like that before going into a fight, because they want to be like hungry. They want to be aggressive.
Yeah.
So, cool. So, you know what? I think I want to touch base on the article that I was discussing with you just before, the one where you talked about being a dangerous man.
Yeah,
that's something that kind of resonated with me. So you got a lot of really good blogs and a lot of good video blogs that I think guys can really benefit from, grabbing them and just digesting them bit by bit. But the idea of being a dangerous man, can you touch base on that a little bit and kind of explaining kind of the philosophy behind it?
Yeah, sure. Because it's an easy one to misinterpret, right? Especially with everyone's very fragile state on the internet, where you misword something or people think you're like promoting violence against them. It's dangerous territory, but it's something I stand by absolute 100%. Like every man should be a dangerous man, right? And I think that's the reason for a lot of guys' anxiety, because they feel so out of control. Because you walk into a bar, you're walking down the street, like bad shit can happen. And it's easy for someone like you and me from where we've been, to realize that violence happens in extreme ways that a lot of people that haven't done that sort of stuff, they're kind of unaware of. But people get hurt. If you're not capable of any sort of violence, you're reliant on something else to protect you. Okay, and whether that's the police or something else, but you're not in control, right? So being a dangerous man is not saying that you should want to fight everyone. It's not saying that you should go and start breaking necks, right? It's saying that you should be very capable of doing it. The difference is between, say, a violent guy in a negative way and a guy that is just good at being dangerous is purely a moral compass, right? If every single man in the world was very, very capable of awesome violence, right, but he had a strong moral compass, in which case he said he uses that to like defend his family, he uses that for just causes, the world is going to be an amazing place. The reason that violence can be bad is when someone who is good at violence and has a real bad, fucked up moral compass possesses it, right? It's I asked my partner, we were talking, I think it was last year maybe, about like what we thought of each other on like our first date, and we were like real meeting for kind of like romantic purposes and stuff. And I was just like, I remember looking at you and being like, shit, she is good, like this close up, she's good looking. Like that's all I thought. And she just said to me, I just remember feeling real safe. Yeah, because I was in the military at the time. We went to the cinema. And she said to me, she was like, I just remember feeling so safe and secure. And that's something every lady deserves to have when she's out with a guy. If a lady prefers a small, skinny, weak man, that's fine. But I think you should always feel secure. Like I think that's one of the greatest things that I can offer Amber when we're out and about is I'm comfortable because I know she's safe, because like I know I'm not a pushover, and I've I've practiced being disciplined, and I've practiced violence in certain ways so that I can protect her. And that makes me feel happy. And it makes me feel like I'm giving value to her. And I've got a strong moral compass. So it's not like I'm going to go start kicking kids in the head. It's just a good place to be for in a relationship or even just within a group of guys. Like, what if you're in a group of guys and someone, which is so common, like I don't know what it's like where you are, but especially in Aldershot, if you go out in a group of guys, it's likely that you're going to get in some sort of confrontation in a violent military town, or in Frome, the town I grew up in. Like, it was known as being like a violent town. Like, if you're in a group of guys and you're weak and not well versed in being a dangerous man in any sense of the word, you're just relying on these guys around you. Like, hey guys, protect me. Like, it's just like an implied thing. Like, I hope these guys will stand around me if it kicks off. Fuck that. Like, that's not valuable to your team in any way. Like, what a crazy way to be happy to live. Does that make sense?
Dude, man, I've got a few quotes here because this is something that has always been at the forefront of my mind. And the whole story you just told about, your wife and when you met her and she felt safe. I've got the exact same story. And we have there's a psychologist that's really popular here. He's a Canadian. And he talks about this exact topic and the position of like where men are at kind of in society right now and not knowing where we stand. And one of his quotes is, a harmless man is not a good man. A good man is a very dangerous man who has that under voluntary control. So his name, it's Jordan Peterson. Yeah, exactly. It's Jordan Peterson. So like, he gets a bad rap a lot of times because people are like, oh, he's a misogynist. That, like, no, it's the misunderstanding of kind of where men need to be placed. And it's always until I found him, I was like, man, like, I don't feel like I'm compatible with just regular society. Like, the way I think is, am I too aggressive? Like, I definitely don't go. I'm a lover. I'm not a fighter. But if shit needs to pop off, like, I'm a big dude. Like, I'm not scared to mix it up. And the most fighting I ever did was playing hockey here. That's kind of like that's where Canadians get it out. We get it out in the rink. But obviously, being in the infantry, there's inevitably some dust ups that happen. And then being deployed, obviously, we have a shit ton of violence that needs to be kind of concentrated and just put forth onto the enemy. But coming home, it's not the same. But having that mindset where it's like, no, I know that I can go to these deep, dark places that can cause a lot of harm, but I voluntarily choose not to. That's the power, right? That's where like people get that sense like, oh, I feel safe around you. You're not a bad man. You're a good man. That's kind of, for me, that's the definition of what being a good man is like everybody has that respect for each other, because we know that, we can do some damage. And that's why you don't go out of your way to get in people's face, because it could turn sour very fast. And so I like the fact that you bring that up, because I'm sure some of your clients, like they must have like a revelation, like it must be like a weight lifted off their shoulders, and even something they could pass on to like their sons, even like it must be awesome to be in that space.
Yeah, without a doubt. And it's like you said, like you can control it, right? So you're completely in control. You're just aware of what you're capable of. That's key. And that, if anything, I think is going to avoid a lot of confrontations, right? Because in my head, this is the kind of the scenario that I painted for someone a few months ago that was, he felt so out of control, right? And I just said to him, he wasn't ready to work with me just yet. Like I just said, you're not in the right place right now, but can you just do me a favor and just join a martial arts gym of some sort for like a month or two, and then get back to me and I will make a space for you, I promise. That's what I said. And the way I described it to him was like, if he sat in a pub, right, with his girlfriend, and he sees like, I don't know, some guys like staring at his girlfriend, he's going to be sat there nervous, terrified, because if they come up to her or if they look at her, like, what does he do? He's so out of control. He's not capable, and he knows it. If it comes to it, he's probably going to lash out, right? Because just because you're not good at violence, as a man, sometimes we make rash, dumb decisions. So he might lash out. Whereas if you're sat there, you're comfortable, you know that you are capable of defending yourself, of her, like, you're going to be so relaxed, You're going to be so relaxed. And if it comes to it and something needs to happen, you're more likely to be able to talk yourself down, because you're not going to make these crazy, rash decisions because you're nervous and anxious. Like, you're comfortable doing what you're doing. You don't need to prove anything. You're real happy in yourself, and you know that if shit does go wrong, you're capable of it. And I think that is just vital. I don't think any guy should be walking through life nervous about something that could happen and he can't control. Like, I hate the term control freak, right? I think every guy should just have control over every single aspect of his life, and that includes stuff, other people doing stuff to him that he's not choosing. He needs to still be able to manage them. And being good at violence, or being a dangerous man with a strong moral compass is just the baseline starting point of that.
Yeah, I think the adoption of kind of a martial art is crucial. I did judo for a number of years, and I've been interested in getting into the Brazilian jiu-jitsu martial art, just because well, in the circle that I'm in, like, it's Joe Rogan that I listen to, and Jocko Willink, and then my buddies, like BJJ is just like blowing up here too. And I've been once, and I was like, oh, this is badass. It gives you that feeling of, well, struggle, because it's hard. And you're starting from like your shit, and you're just getting dominated. But then it also gives you that sense of confidence, which unfortunately, like, I mean, I grew up in the 80s, and it just started where the whole idea of like physical confrontation and boys like pushing each other and like, just like roughhousing was really starting to get pushed out kind of in the 90s. And because I remember in the 80s, like we were just beating the shit out of each other, but we're friends. We weren't trying to hurt each other, but it gives you the idea of like where your limits are. And it was kind of phased out because it was like, oh, we can't let that happen anymore. But I think that's done a real disservice to guys, because I think when you grow up and you haven't had those kind of, wrestling matches, and like, you've been like, all right, dude, okay, like tap the brakes, and like somebody gets really angry because, you choke them for a bit too long and stuff like that. It's like, okay, I know not to go that far, but then you also have that mutual respect for each other, which I think kind of got eroded in the last few decades. But, like, I've read the research too, and Jordan Peterson talks about it, like the importance of just roughhousing, not just with boys, but with girls as well. Like with my son, like we're wrestling all the time, but it gives him, it gives him an understanding. Like, he knows nothing in the face, because we're having fun. So he slapped me a few times, and I was like, whoa. And then, timeout, no more playing. And he gets it. And so then when he goes to play with his friends, like, he should have that awareness that, oh, we're playing right now. The violence that I'm going to use is just for fun. And then, if he decides later on to do like an actual martial art, which I hope he does, and I'll do it with him, it'll give him that confidence, and you read about, like, guys like George St. Pierre, like, he's, from around here in Montreal, one of the greatest, mixed martial artists in the world. Like, he was bullied, right? And what did he do? He learned karate, and that gave him the control. And then he was able to push away his bullies and stuff like that. So I think it's super powerful, man. Like, I think you got such a wicked message. What would you say, like for you, like for a guy that's really, really, really struggling, if there was just one thing that, let's say he's not ready to work with you, but he needs to kind of just like activate something, what's kind of like the thing that you would prescribe that would kind of put that mindset? Is it martial arts, or is it nutrition, or is it sleep? What's your kind of your pillar, your first pillar for anybody to kind of get started and activate their testosterone levels?
Okay, so this guy his main struggle is it testosterone, or is it like drive, or is it like anxiety? What do you think?
Yeah, good point. So let's just say he doesn't feel like he's man enough. Let's say he's, he everything is just is not firing in all cylinders. He's not having sex. He's not training hard. He doesn't feel like he's successful. He just feels like nothing's going right. And a guy comes to you, he's like, I don't know where to start. Where's the starting point for a guy like that?
So the best starting point for this guy is finding out what in his day or his week, his life in general, he's just simply being reacted to, right? Because the reason he's in that state is because he's going through the motions of something. He's not in control of his life. Like his diet, he's probably grabbing something from the petrol station on the way to work because it's easy. He doesn't have time to make something, right? So he's completely just reacting to a situation rather than being in control. So if that's the case, I'm going to say, plan what you're going to eat tomorrow and make it. And I'm not a huge fan of food prep. That's not what this is about. It's about control. Okay. And if I say, what do you do on the weekends? He says, I don't know, usually a buddy will call me up at like 3 PM and see if I want to go to the pub for the night. So we do that, and then I get drunk, and then Sunday I'm just in bed all day. Like, see how reactive that is. I'm just like, make plans now for the weekend, something that pushes you forward, and do that. And then I say, what's your financial state? And it'll definitely be skint. This guy is always broke. No guy that is that reactive has money in savings or any sort of investments in other hands. I'll just say, tomorrow, invest half a day's wage in something that makes you better, right? So these small things, so that by the end of this week, he just feels a little bit more in control of his life. That's a insanely good starting point, right? By the time he's got there, he's invested in something, whether it's a book or a pull-up bar for his room or anything like that. He's a little bit more in control. At the weekend, instead of going to the pub, he might have still gone to the pub, but he might have planned to meet his friend at the pub for two beers and then gone on a dog walk, right? He might, who knows, he might have like just got some bottle and invited a bird on a date. He could have done anything, but he's decided to do it. Like, I know I harp on about control a lot, but that's the first thing that these guys are missing. I'm just going to say, stop being reactive to these things. Like, we'll find out what they are. You're going to be proactive about those specific things this week, and then we'll reassess on Sunday or Monday, and we're going to make a new plan. And that the next step from there will be getting him to do tough stuff. So not just getting him to choose what he's doing, but getting him to choose stuff to do that he doesn't want to do. Right. That's the next step. And that's just, then it rolls into discipline, enjoying challenges, and it kind of snowballs from there.
Right on. So you set up a bunch of quick wins that will increase, his, I guess, his level of confidence.
Yeah. That's exactly a quick wins. That's a great way of putting it, because if you're reactive, you never win, because you can only, like, by definition, right, you can only win if you've decided to do something and then you do it to the level that you decided you do it to, or you have the point of winning. But if you're being reactive and you're not choosing to do anything, you're just simply letting life drag you along. You're getting pulled in the directions and you're just going with it. Usually the path of least resistance, right? So drinking, spending your money, chilling out, watching Netflix all day, like the easy stuff. You can never win because you haven't decided to start anything. You just fallen into it. So yeah, once you give them that control and that proactive, like, a lot of my clients will just say stuff to me like, oh, I've had jobs for 6-7 months to do around the house. That I just have been piling up. I got them all done yesterday, right? Like, they'll just get done. You just get shit done, and then that snowballs. Then their wives are grateful for that, and they kind of look at them and think, shit, he's moving faster. He's getting more stuff done, and then that relationship's stronger. And then you're going out for dinner, and then you're having better sex, and then you're thinking, I'm gonna put some money aside because I might build a home gym. And then soon you're looking back and you're like, who the fuck was that guy? Like, a few months ago. It was that lazy, idle fucker. Like, I don't even recognize it. It's just small little steps of control.
So what I just got out of that is, if I do a bit more dishes and I clean the floors a bit more, I'm going to have more sex. Did I make that connection?
Put it all together and packaged up nicely. That's what you just did.
That's awesome, dude. So I want to cover you. You mentioned like getting books and stuff for yourself, and I like kind of wrapping things up with what makes you tick, and some of the things that you're reading, so that the listeners can get a kind of glimpse into what you're digesting. So what are you reading right now, or some podcasts and stuff like that that are really kind of catching your interest that our listeners might be able to latch onto?
Okay, so first of all, I know this is definitely obvious, but like Jordan Peterson. All his Joe Rogan podcast, I'm like addicted to, and the William von Hippel one, the anthropologist, psychologist guy, insane. Like, listen to that podcast. William von Hippel, he wrote The Social Leap. When he explains about how humans evolved and why they are the way they are, it's the most, kind of lets you understand you a bit more. But the book, and anyone that's come into contact with me in any way before will be bored of hearing this, but the book Resilience, right? Resilience. It's by Eric G, the ex-Navy SEAL. I think now he's like governor of Missouri or something. But that book, I've read it double figures times. Like, it's insane. You can open it page and just, it's the most powerful book. Yeah. Every single not just man, every single man and woman, anyone should read that book. It's without a doubt the best book I've ever read.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm definitely going to put that in the show notes, and I'll definitely add it to my Amazon list. Yeah, actually, it's funny. I haven't heard of that one. Because we've like within my clients and stuff like that, we kind of pass around. We do like a kind of a book club. So I've been passing around Jocko Willink's book. The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg was really big too. But I'll definitely add resilience. That's something that, again, you cannot possibly underestimate the power of resilience. And now, like, I just left kind of the school system, and the new buzzword is resiliency training. Because I don't know what it's like in the UK, but here we got away from failing grades. So you shit the bed on a spelling test, and it's like, it's okay, don't worry about it. Like, we'll still put you through. It's like, no, but you're missing the point. Like, it's not hurting his self-esteem. It was this whole like idea where, oh, you don't want to hurt his self-esteem, he'll never do well. So that's fucked.
I've talked about this a lot. My mum's a teacher, and
right. Mine too.
Yeah. Same thing to me, and she says it's all changed in the school system. She says now on parents' evening, like, I don't know about you, when I went to parents' evening, I was shitting my pants, terrified. I was about to get into some serious trouble. She says now it's the other way. She says now it's just teachers terrified because it's kind of like you're making sure that you haven't done anything wrong, you're treated like it's all fair, and you haven't upset the student by doing anything like that, and health and safety, and it's just crazy. But I think what you said about like not matching effort with reward is the most dangerous thing you can do. In that William von Hippel podcast, he talks about how humans kind of became the way we are in a part because if loads of chimps went on a hunt, and they were kind of dishing out the monkey meat, like, if you didn't take part in the hunt, you'd be just as likely to get a bit of the meat because they can't really sense who put the most effort in, who deserves it. So there was no real incentive to work hard and to be a big part of the hunt and do these dangerous things. Whereas humans are very good at that, obviously. And that's what made people want to work hard, right? It's what made people realize that the harder they work, the more likely they are to get better rewards. So it's what built what humans have built, right? It's what built this world. It's because people have perfectly matched effort. If I work harder and put more effort in, I will get more reward. If you take that away and give no incentive for effort, it's not just damaging, like, it's dangerous, right? Really dangerous when you just think you're owed stuff because you are here, you exist.
Because you showed up. Show up.
What a crazy place to be in. What a crazy idea.
Man, and it was something that kind of, leaving the military, just seeing like this rewarding of shit effort and just shit. I was like, this isn't the way I operate. Well, I'm not going to say good job because you got like a 2 on 10. Like, no, should be your motivator. I'm not saying you're a bad person. What I'm saying is that you need to sort your shit out. Yeah. And like that's on you. That's not on me. And it was weird because like everything was like, well, what are you doing? I'm like, well, what am I doing? I'm evaluating them, but I don't make them study. Like, that's not my job. It's your job. Like, it's taking away the ownership, it's just, and the responsibility, which was kind of fucked up. Like, it was hard for me to take. And well, part of the reason probably why I'm not there, but it was a weird shift, but now it's shifting back. Like, resiliency training means like when the kid gets a 4 on 10, it means like, okay, well, sort your shit out and make sure you pass next time. It's like, wow, that's kind of what we did all throughout history. What a novel new idea.
Yeah, so if you fail, work harder and then get better grades. Like, whoever thought of that should get a good pay rise.
Yeah, I know, brilliant. Some egghead at some modern university no doubt came up with that. So on that topic, what then is kind of your major influence? Is it family members or people that you work with, or what really kind of turns your gears and motivates you?
I've got a real small, close knit group of friends. Like, I can't remember where I read it. I read about, like, I'm sure you surround the people you surround yourself with, you become like them, right? So when I read that,
you're the average of the 5 closest people in your life.
I'm just here like delete. And now I've got some incredible friends who I make sure I make time for. Like, I've got a guy come in and a couple of hours for a brew. He comes around every single Wednesday. He comes around for a brew at 4:30, because he's a real good influence. He's a great bloke, ex-military guy. We catch up, we have a brew, and we'll talk about training and kind of business stuff. I have a guy that came around not yesterday, the day before, awesome guy, ex British Special Forces, SBS, like real motivated guy, building his own business, incredible. Like we just sit in my office and just chat, like without a doubt, just surrounding yourself with inspiring people. Reading's great and definitely listen to podcasts, but don't ignore what you can actually like see all the time. Like surround yourself with great friends, and it's insanely useful. Like real powerful way to live, to have a little tribe of these men that you're just like friends with, and then you think, fuck, I'd like pay you for your time, and we're just brewing up. Like, this is great.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that. When I got back from my tour in 2011, I kind of just said, I don't know if I want to still do the army thing, and I was a reservist, so I just went back to kind of my civilian world. And like I said, I went back to teaching, and I kind of pushed away kind of that military life. And most of my friends were all veterans, and it didn't make sense. And so a few years ago, I just started realizing things don't feel right. Like, what am I doing here? And so I've just really embraced, especially they're right next door. They're like minutes away from me. Guys that are, successful in business, especially that have started their own business, and, we're the same, but it's just, it's so much easier to talk to them. And it's a natural gravitation to those individuals that are, you always want to be with the people that are doing better than you, because if you're better than everybody else, well, where's your growth going to happen? So that's kind of where I made that realization. And I read that too, you're the average of 5 people that you kind of hang around with. And that includes, relationships that you're in and stuff like that too. They have a major influence. Obviously your wife is a major influence in your life. So it's cool that you mentioned that, because that's something that I made a conscious decision. I was like, wait, hold on a sec. I don't think I'm in the right spot. I need to be hanging out with, like being able to talk to guys like you, guys like Rich. Like it's only been really in the last year that I clicked on that. Oh wait, if I want to do what I want to do, I got to hang out with the people that are actually doing it, because where am I going to get my inspiration?
Yeah, where's my? But it's what you said is so true. Like when you said about your wife as well, it's not just friends. Especially, I'm in like some Facebook groups for like other guys that use the same business software as me or something like that. And I see guys always asking for advice. Like, hey guys, my wife's trying to pressure me into getting a real job, like a secure job, because I'm struggling. Like, what do I do? You see them all the time. It's crazy. And I just think, like, how lucky am I? Like, I was with Amber when I left the army, and then like starting as a PT with no money at all. There was actually a point when I was doing my online coaching, when I just said to Amber, I was just there like, hey, do you want me to just, like, I had no qualification stuff, but I was like, I could get good labouring work right on a building site. I said, do you just want me to, like, I'll just build, like, for even if it's just for a few years, should I just get on the building? And she just said, don't you dare. She was like, don't you dare. Like, stick with this. Like, you're gonna do amazing. Like, and she's supportive. Like, if I'm up late at night, I get up at 5 every morning, and she doesn't bat an eyelid. I sometimes wake her up. She knows that I'm just getting in the office, getting stuff done, working hard. She's so supportive. And I look at these guys and I think, you're like, what a horrible place to live, where your partner's like so unsupportive or damaging. Like, it's not a good place to be at all. So I think you're right. Like, friends and relationships, like, powerful stuff.
Big time. So that kind of leads me into my last question for you, which is, what makes you hard to kill? Usually it's a hard one to answer. It's kind of obscure, but it's one that I tend to, I'm not doing anything scientific right now, but there tends to be a trend, and I'm curious to see if you follow that trend as to what makes you hard to kill.
I'll give you a trend that you can follow easily. Is I'm English and we're relentless, right? Right, I'm British, we're relentless. There's going to be no one more difficult to kill than a ex-British military guy, right? I heard that, tell me if this is true or not, I heard that the Americans used to get a card, American forces got a card, and it had a Union flag on the front, and on the other side it said, you're posted with the British, do not gamble, and do not fight, because you will lose. Right?
I can't confirm that. I work with the Americans. I never heard of that, but maybe maybe that's a World War II thing. But yeah, no, it's funny you mentioned like the relentlessness. What was it? The expression is the only two animals that work in the midday sun are dogs and the British. Like it's like because the Afghans, like I don't know, like they didn't work in the middle of the day. We did. Like we were on patrol at noon. It's like 45 degrees. We're just sweating. They're like, "What are you guys doing? Why go inside?" They're like, no, we got to patrol. It's that's why we had that's why I'm here. I'm a colonial of this empire that decided, yeah, let's go all over the world. The weather's shit here. Let's go find places to take over.
It's a good question. It is a good question. What's been the common trend so far then?
It's been basically, yeah, same thing. It's iron will. Just the inability to give up. Mindset.
Awesome.
So relentlessness, however you want to call it, it always revolves around mindset. It's not like, oh, I work out 5 times a day, or it's never that. It's always mindset. My mindset.
It's something you have 100% control over, right? If you say, oh, because I'm stronger than every man out there, some guy could come and be stronger than you. But if you say, like, if you're dedicated, you say, I'm relentless, I won't stop. That's your choice. No one can ever take that away from you. Like, that is just a standard thing. You can be like, yeah, I won't stop. And then you're fully in control of never stopping, right? Which is pretty fucking dangerous.
It is because you know what, man, you can have all the talent in the world, but if you're not relentless and you're not willing to put in the hours, you only go so far. It's the grinders that end up getting to where they want to go because they have that mental fortitude. They won't give up. Like I was never an elite athlete. I've always been a jack of all trades, but I just don't stop. I'm just constantly plugging, and I plug until I figure out a way. Like I usually do shit wrong because I'm like, I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm just going to do it. And I put my head down and I just start swinging. And then it usually turns out because I just stick at it for long enough. Yeah. Like, oh, this worked out. Oh, cool. Let's do another one, So, dude, that's freaking awesome. You know what? You've got such an awesome message. Why don't you let us in on what's going on with you with respects to, promotions and stuff that you've got going on?
Sure. Yeah. I just launched basically I wrote a big email to all my subscribers, everyone on my Instagram, Facebook, and just said, what do you want? Like, what do you want? And my intention was, I'm just going to give it to them. I'm going to build it and just give it to them for free. And guys were asking for so much different stuff. Like recipes, meal plans, training, education, mindset training. I was just like, fuck. And I hadn't told them I was going to give it to them for free, but because I was just like, you know what, fuck it. I'm just going to take a few days out and just focus on this and just build them something amazing. Because I love these guys. They are relentless, right? If I instruct them to do a challenge or something, they just fucking get it done. So I built it. It's a full content area called Barbarian Prime, and it's got everything these guys asked for is in it, and it's completely free. You just need to bang your email in. You get full access to the page. It's got all the recipes, the meal plans, the perfect days, educational videos, mindset training. There's an 8-day challenge in there, the Barbarian Challenge, which is just fucking ruthless. But all there, like we talked about earlier, about kind of mindset manipulation, getting you to be more proactive, more disciplined. It's all there for a reason. So yeah, like get stuck into that. It's extremely valuable. The one thing I was afraid of is giving it away for free, purely because guys don't always do the actions. When they get it for free, like if you get a free T-shirt, you do the painting in it, right? There's no value in it. So
there's no skin in the game.
Exactly. Yeah. So I just say, get Barbarian Prime, and just pretend you paid a couple of £100 for it, right? Go through it all, work through it, because it's all there to be insanely valuable, because I want to help guys get themselves mentally and physically into their optimal state. So that's it. Yeah, grab Barbarian Prime for sure.
Barbarian Prime, man. I'm going to get on it too. That sounds freaking awesome.
Yeah, you'll love it.
Wicked. Yeah, I love your emails. So if you get onto Barbarian Prime, that's awesome. But also head over. What's your website so that guys can log on?
JonnyCollinsUK.com.
JonnyCollinsUK.com. Sign up to his email. He gives loads of stuff, like so much stuff. I'm not even able to like go through it all, but he's got some really good nuggets. Check out his videos he's got on his vlog, and check out his blog posts too. He's got a lot of good stuff to offer, obviously, because we just went through about an hour, and it seemed to honestly, that was like the quickest hour I think I've ever done on the podcast, man. You got a lot of good stuff to go over. I think we should probably schedule another one and do a bit of a deeper dive into the whole the science and the nitty gritty of testosterone. We only just scratched the surface there. So, dude, I really appreciate you coming on the podcast, man. And we definitely need to stay in touch. And good luck with the Barbarian Prime. And we'll definitely touch base later.
Yeah, thanks for having me, mate. It's been great. Like you said, it's fucking Zoom by. I can't believe it's been an hour, but it's been great. Yeah, for sure. Reach out. Let's schedule another one. I'll be all over it.
Sounds good, buddy. All right. Have yourself a good rest of the day, and peace out to everybody else that's listening. Take care.
Take care. Bye.
Thanks for listening to the podcast. You can find out more about training, nutrition, and mindset at davemorrow.net. Be sure to like us on Facebook and Instagram at DaveMorrowPT. And don't forget, strong people are hard to kill.